are joining the Addressing Inaction and a critical discussion on the international community's approach to Gaza's genocide. I would like, with the second month, we are entering the second month of the war on Gaza, and there is no doubt that a genocide is being achieved by the Israeli occupation. So we will start with Mr. Maker. Maker Pellet? Is that right, start?
Yes, I'm ready to start.
Yeah. As an Israeli-American activist and author, how would you describe the actions of the Israeli government, which has shown clear contempt and disregard for the international humanitarian law, despite international criticism and demands? Why does Israel remain seemingly above the law? When do you think the Israeli forces might be deterred from violating international law, in your opinion?
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for holding this important conversation. I think we have to remember that what we're seeing now in Gaza is not anything new. And as shocking and horrifying as this, brutality and savagery that we're seeing is at the moment, we have to remember the state of Israel was permitted to be established only 3 years after the Holocaust, the genocide of the Jews in Europe. So after the Holocaust, after 3 years, the international community allowed an apartheid regime to be established in Palestine, a campaign of genocide and ethnic cleansing to take place in Palestine by the Zionist movement and then the state of Israel. And this is going back 75 years. Thousands were murdered, close to 1 million people were kicked out of their homes. An entire country was occupied, and the apartheid regime was established. And this is 3 years after the end of World War II, after the end of the Holocaust. So what we're seeing now is a natural progression of that. Israel has always been above the law. The Zionists have always been able to manipulate, to influence not only the West, because today we're seeing that Israel has support in Africa, it has support in the Islamic world. We just saw the Arab Islamic countries not able to pass a resolution to cut ties with Israel. We see BRICS, the BRICS country, with the exception of South Africa, have relations with Israel, are not cutting ties with Israel. So there is no reason in the world for Israel to take the international law, take human rights, take the rights of Palestinians seriously. There's no reason. It is a racist society. It is an apartheid state. It has brutality and violence, not to say savagery, has been a hallmark of Zionism. It's been a hallmark of the state of Israel from the very beginning. Granted, we're seeing levels of savagery right now that are shocking, and we're seeing it live. This is in prime time. And there's no attempt to even hide what's taking place. I mean, they're lying about it, but they're not hiding it. When we hear the rhetoric by Zionist leaders going back 100 years, even before the establishment of the state of Israel, we hear the same rhetoric today about destroying, about killing, about eliminating, about this terminology that speaks of a genocide. All the different synonyms you can think of for genocide have been part of the Zionist lexicon from very beginning, before even the state of Israel was established, and the international community stood by and allowed it to happen, as they are allowing it to happen today. And I would submit that one of the reasons, at least, there's more than one reason, but at least one of the reasons is that the Palestinian issue is an orphan. It's always been an orphan. There has never been an organization, a state, a group of countries, or even individuals really that stand up and push the Palestinian interests forward. I'm here in Washington, D.C. There's nothing. There's no voice. There's no office. There's no organization. And this is true in London, and this is true in Paris, and this is true everywhere. There is no voice to the Palestinian issue. There is no parent to Palestine. Palestinians are orphans. The Palestinian issue is an orphan, and that is the problem. While Israel has been working tirelessly and very effectively through a massive campaign of public relations for over 100 years, well-funded, well-organized, focused. They march forward like Roman legions, undeterred, but they're also unopposed. There is no opposition to the Zionist narrative. There is no counter to the Israeli lies and lies and lies and lies, even though so many people know that they are lies. But there is no counter voice, and that is, I think, one of the problems. Of course, there are other issues as well. The fact that the lives of Palestinians don't matter have to do with racism and other issues as well. But I think at the very least, there has to be some kind of an organized voice that pushes forward and tells the Palestinian story. If you look online, if you Google Palestine, if you look at images, all you see are protests and terrorism and protests and terrorism. You don't see anything about the history, about the culture, about the literature, about the existence, about pre-1948 Palestine, which was a thriving country. You don't see anyone contradicting the Zionist lies that they made the desert bloom, where in fact they stole a country that was in full bloom. They stole money and cities and towns and everything else that was already in full bloom. We don't see that being countered anywhere. And even today, as they are bombing and murdering children and destroying an entire population by the thousands, they're lying, and the rest of the world is accepting their lies. The rest of the world is allowing them to perpetuate the lies, perpetuate this savagery, and there's no opposition and there's no voice. And so
sir, in 1 minute, because we are going to give you 5 minutes. This is the powerful of the lobby in the media and the money in the weapon and even industry. Where did that come from?
It's all the same thing. It's all part of the fact that the Zionists have been working very, very hard to have a say, to have influence in the media, in politics, in culture, in philanthropy, in industry, in every aspect of life in the West. You see a Zionist hand. And I'll just finish by saying that right now, I and a few others are in the process of establishing what we're calling Dar al-Hurriya, you can see behind me, which will be a space in Washington, D.C. to push forward the Palestinian story, the Palestinian agenda, and Palestinian interests once and for all. So thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm sorry I have to run a little bit early. I have a plane to catch, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and from an Israeli-American activist, we'll go to the other side, to the other Russian political scientist, Sergei Markov. And we just, as a scientist and journalist, while Russia's official stance on the war is clear and strong, but it seems to lack the expected influence of a nation of Russia's stature, given that Russia is a powerful and influential country capable of enforcing its decision even against the international opposition, including from the United States. But when do you foresee Russia position evolving to enforce a ceasefire through international mechanisms and international humanitarian law?
Open your mic, please.
Yes, the mic.
We still can't hear you. Your mic, please. Check your mic.
Now I switch on. Yes, now you can hear me. It's okay?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Russian position, first of all, based on the fact that Russia has a constant position during many decades of friendly relationship with Arabic world and Muslim world. Now, this Russian friendly relationship with Arabic and Muslim world now became even more important because in the situation of hybrid war of a US-led coalition of Western countries because of the Ukrainian crisis, Russia very much interested about increasing relationship, improving relations with so-called global South. Additionally to this, during these decades, the role of the countries of the global South became more important both in economy, global economy and global politics. So it's the reason of Russia to take moderate side of the Arabic and Muslim countries now even became more strong than in previous years. So it's one important point. Another point is that Russia believes that there should be some solution of such crisis. It should be not endless war and should be not one victory, not total victory, but should be it's more a solution based on the justice. And this solution should be based on the relations of United Nations, which give opportunity for the Palestine state to be created. And this Palestine state should include not only Gaza, but also western bank of the Jordan River and also eastern Jerusalem. And also they should be not separated territory from territorial point of view, but should be territorially integrated Palestinian state. So it's the solution. It's another important characteristic. And also for Russia, it's important to see that Israel too strong alliance now of the United States of America. You know that we have Russia now a very difficult relation with the United States because we believe that in Ukraine we see aggression of the United States of America against Russian identity and used by violence, by terror of the identity of the Russian people who live in Ukraine, and they are neo-fascist. And the Russian government asked Israeli government many times to say more clearly what they think that the main hero of Ukrainian regime is Stepan Bandera, who was fascist, who was responsible for Holocaust, for the killing of the dozens of thousands of Jewish. And, you know, Israeli government keeps silent because it's a connection with the United States. So I would say that if Israeli government continue to support indirectly neo-fascist regime in Ukraine, Israel government will have more and more problems. It will want to stress. We don't want Israel state to be destroyed by Muslims. We want Israel state to have guarantee. But to have guarantee, we want to tell Israel people that you should respect the interests of other people. You should respect interests of Palestinians. You should respect the interests of the Russians in Ukraine, who should be under the pressure of the Ukrainian terroristic government. If you don't respect the interests of another, okay, you will be in very big trouble. Also, I would want to remember a very interesting characteristic that situation is changing. Look what was in the past. In the past, Israel fought against Egypt for the control of Sinai and partly for the control of the Gaza sector. Egypt wanted to control Gaza sector, and Israel wanted to control Gaza sector as well. Now, on contrary, now Israel asked Egypt to take control of the Gaza, but Egypt denies, saying, no, we don't want. So it's very interesting change of the distribution of power and change of the position. And another point I want to stress, we believe that when Israel kill not only Hamas fighters, but peaceful Palestinians, they take a position of the so-called collective responsibility. But if they follow the policy of collective responsibility, same collective responsibility sometime will come to them back. And this will have form of stronger anti-Semitism. So
Sir,
we believe, yes.
Sir, I have two questions for you here. One of them
Yes.
is, you, as you mentioned, Hamas fighters, you have made, as Russia state has made a meeting with Hamas leaders recently. What do you read from that?
Russian government met with Hamas leaders. First of all, Mr. Bogdanov, deputy head of the Russian foreign ministry, and a very good friend of mine. And this meeting, of course, has some secret characteristics, but mostly important what we can say that first of all, Hamas ready to allow Russian citizens to leave Gaza sector, which is important for us. And secondly, it was the discussion about possible compromise. frankly speaking, Hamas has now quite strong position, and they believe that Israel should just get their troops out, and political power in the Gaza sector should belong to Hamas. I think that now is the main point that Israel want very much that Hamas should be replaced by Fatah, by President Abbas in the Gaza sector. But Hamas absolutely against this, so there are no point for compromise now. And Hamas, they believe that in the guerrilla war, they will crash Israel exactly like Hezbollah crash Israel army in guerrilla war in Lebanon in 2006.
Thank you, Mr.
My pleasure.
Sergey, for your speech. And now we move to the member of the Chamber of Deputies of Brazil, Carlos Squira. You are with us, sir?
Sure.
Hello.
We have translator.
Yeah, we have translator, but are you online?
Can you open your mic, please?
Капец, да? А что
Evet.
ты там вернулся?
CEO Borto translator. Can you open your mic, please? Can you open your mic, please? You can. Okay.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. The translator? Yes. Okay. Can you please just ask our member of the Chamber of Deputies of Brazil that the Brazilian President Lula da Silva has commented on the unprecedented level of violence in Gaza, given Brazil's clear opposition of the genocide in Gaza. Do you believe the current response is sufficient?
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
You know, there was
The internet failed me.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah, the Brazilian president has commented on the level of violence in Gaza, and he was showing opposition to the genocide there. Is that response was sufficient, or do you think Brazil can do more regarding that?
Ok. I'll translate. Recentemente, o governo brasileiro, através do presidente Lula, comentou sobre a violência sem precedentes em Gaza. A pergunta é, você acha que essa resposta sobre, inclusive comparando a terrorismo, né, se essa resposta é suficiente da parte do governo, ou se vai haver mais repercussão da parte do governo brasileiro sobre a violência em Gaza? É a pergunta.
A minha saudação. Estão me ouvindo?
He asks if you can hear him.
Yes, we can hear. Okay.
Então, a minha saudação.
Eles estão ouvindo.
O presidente Lula tem se manifestado, inclusive estava à frente do Conselho de Segurança. É verdade, existem os milindres, né? Mas
Lula...
diante de uma...
Padre João, o senhor pode pausar um pouquinho para eu conseguir traduzir de pedaço em pedaço?
Assim, o presidente Lula teve, de fato, essa sensibilidade e não foi omisso quando ele destaca o caráter, de fato, de violação dos direitos humanos. E, sim, deixa até, de certa forma, claro os crimes que estão sendo cometidos.
I'll translate.
Yes.
Padre João says, indeed, President Lula was not silent about the violence in Gaza, and his remarks about Gaza went on the direction of condemnation of the violence and the violations of humanitarian law.
Tivemos no Congresso, mesmo tendo um Congresso muito hostil, de certa forma, brasileiro, mas conseguimos um número de parlamentares que também pede este apoio maior do presidente Lula em não assumir acordos que, inclusive, foram votados no Congresso e que possam facilitar, inclusive, uma relação mais com Israel para acentuar uma guerra e a violência. E então nós podemos também, enquanto parlamentares, destacar que o que está acontecendo de fato é um genocídio e que talvez o único crime que Israel não cometeu até hoje é lançar mão de bomba atômica.
Yes.
So, despite our somewhat hostile Congress, mostly right-wing Congress, we managed to gather support from many Brazilian Congress people towards the rejection of the Israeli violence against Gaza and the Palestinians. And we gathered this support in order to fight some legislation that is being processed on the Brazilian Congress regarding Israel and Brazilian commerce on security and cybersecurity and arms deals. We understand that the only violation Israel has not committed yet against Palestinians is the use of atomic weapons, because other than it, they did it all. So that's why we're gathering this support against cooperation, arms deals cooperation with Israel.
Esse procedimento de Israel com os palestinos na faixa de Gaza, veja, ele nos coloca para uma reflexão e que o Lula também se manifestou, que qual é de fato exigir esse repensar do papel do Conselho e mesmo as decisões que vão para... eu confesso, faço aqui da minha fala algo pessoal. Fica, de fato, indignado do ponto podemos receber a todas as crianças que chegaram nessa semana, e elas disseram, olha, uma mistura de alegria que chegaram aqui no Brasil, mas, ao mesmo tempo, a tristeza de dizer, olha, deixamos lá meus parentes, deixamos meus amigos, e que estão, e não tem lugar seguro. Onde que... Uma escola não é um lugar seguro. Uma mesquita, os crimes de guerra que Israel está cometendo, e ainda o mundo e a imprensa também, grande parte da grande imprensa, sendo covarde e tão cruel quanto Israel.
So this all of it is happening made us rethink, and President Lula is talking about it, rethink the role of the United Nations Security Council and its effectiveness or lack thereof in regard to guarantee world safety, the world's safety and peace. Because we can see it's not working as.
Yes, I thank you for your answers. I just want to go to. You can stay with us, sir, for further discussion.
And President Lula is talking. Said in a person received here in Brazil.
It seems.
Can I?
Yes,
so,
yes. Please stay with us. We will have further discussion and questions for you.
He said it on a personal note that it was. Okay, he said that it was outrageous that the Brazilian Palestinian people we rescued last week, they were happy, of course, they got to be alive, but they were sad that their families and their relatives, their friends are still under fire, and there is little. Most of the media and the big governments are silent about this violence, this outrageous violence, and it has to change to stop the violence.
Yes, thank you. Okay, stay with us for further discussion. Thank you for your answers. We move now to Sayyid Ibrahim Sayyid Nuh, Chairman of the Malaysian Parliament, Caucus of the Palestinian. How can the Malaysian Parliament and its Palestine Committee effectively intervene to hold the ongoing aggression in the Gaza Strip, especially if we are talking about Malaysia, which has a lot of support to the Palestinian, but they are not in the area, they are so far away. How can you be more effective in supporting the Palestinian? Where's
your mic, please? Your mic.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me. First of all, my hearts and soul to the Palestinians, including children and families who have been killed, displaced, dispossessed, and robbed of their own rights of land. They have rights to resist, rights to live harmoniously and peacefully on their own land. The current onslaught, the massacre, the genocide by Israel is a clear, continuous settler colonial project, apartheid regime, crime of humanity, barbaric and collective punishment that violates all international humanitarian law. And it has to stop, it cannot continue. And it is deemed to wipe out and annihilate the Palestinians of the face of their own land. The arrogant position of Israel has been known for the last 6 to 7 decades, and yet Palestine and Palestinians still resist. The resistance by Hamas on 7th of October was a testament to this. Therefore, it was not an act in vacuum, as was mentioned by Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General. And those Palestinians who have managed to remain in historic Palestine, in spite of the ceaseless efforts to dispossess them, continue to resist erasure. And on this aspect, Malaysia's position is very clear. It is very clear that Malaysia remains firm and steadfast in its stand that the Palestinians must be granted absolute freedom from Israel's illegal occupation. And our government's policy, foreign policy, would continue to prioritize the struggle to liberate the Palestine land and its people. We will always support the Palestinian cause. In fact, Malaysia has been vocal in its relationship with Hamas. To us, Hamas won the elections and the people of Gaza chose them to lead. And therefore, they have a right to resist the occupation and gain freedom for Palestine. I would also like to reiterate what our Prime Minister, Anwar Ibrahim, has already mentioned, that we are an independent country. And we are also saying that Malaysia will remain firm in its humanitarian considerations and condemn Israel's unlawful occupation of Palestine. And he said that, the Prime Minister said, the politics and the disorder did not only start last month, but it has been going on for decades since 1948. And therefore, it is unreasonable to set aside the violence, invasion, and colonialism of Israel on the Arab territory of Palestine. He also said that while Russia's invasion of Ukraine was condemned, the same was not done in the Israeli occupation of Palestine, especially by countries such as the US, although it had gone on for many years. And the same can be said of the situation during apartheid South Africa. ANC, or the African National Congress, was labeled as a typical terrorist organization by Margaret Thatcher and Reagan. It was regarded as one of the greatest misjudgments, as by end of the world or the Cold War, Thatcher had to bow to the inevitable. She welcomed Nelson Mandela to Downing Street a few months after his release from prison. And the hypocritical nature of the West, especially US and UK, is not surprising, as in the case of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. When Ukrainians attacked back after Russia's invasion, the US celebrated them in fighting occupation. When Palestinians do the same against Israeli occupation as the occupier, they are condemned. That's clearly double standards in endorsing terrorism. And as far as our parliament is concerned, there are two divides of the parliament. We have the government and the opposition, but on the issue of Palestine, we are together. And inshallah, we are also in the midst of forming a regional parliamentarian comprising of the countries in Southeast Asia, especially Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and even perhaps some of the Asia-Pacific countries like Australia and New Zealand. We're going to collaborate with all the member of parliament that would have the same mindset and that support Palestine. And I think that the only two things that we'll be able to hold together the member of parliament, first is to stop the war, cease fighting. Second is to open up the border and bring in humanitarian assistance. And I think as far as the parliamentarians are concerned, yes, we need to do more. I believe there are also very strong global organizations, for example, the League of Parliamentarians for Al-Quds, and then we have the IPUC, the International Parliamentarians of Union of Coalition, Islamic Parliamentarians of Union Coalition. So there are many more, but I think it's not a problem for us to have more of these coalitions of parliamentarians, as long as we have the same mindset and it is for the freedom of Palestine.
But why didn't Malaysia file a case against Israel in the International Court of Justice for what is happening? Or is there a plan to do that?
Okay, there is a condition for that. We must be a party to the Rome Statute, and we are not a party to the Rome Statute.
Not about Rome Statute.
Yeah, Rome Statute.
It's International Court of
International
Justice.
Court, not the Rome
Not the ICC. You are
not
part.
The ICC.
Malaysia is part of the International Court of Justice. We are talking about the
ICC.
genocide here.
Sure, I understand. Okay, I think what is required is a multitude of countries.
It's not required any multi. Malaysia can go from this very moment and apply to this. And we have, if you want, if the government or need any, I think they have very good, strong legal advisors. Ghana went against Myanmar alone. It's not, doesn't need any. Why this is a red line?
Okay,
You just need to be a member of the United Nations. That's all.
Sure, I understand. Nauras, it is the decision of the government. I am a parliamentarian. I'm not a cabinet member. I'm not a government member.
But you have to
But-
push for this.
Of course, it is also our duty and responsibility to bring it up.
If you allow me, please. We are in very. I'm from the Middle East. I'm Palestinians. I have report about what happened in Gaza. In Gaza, about the what happened is like the after day. You can't imagine what is happening now, and this is waste. We waste time if we discuss these issues. We need practical issues in this very historical, dangerous moment. As parliamentarian, you have to put a question to the government why they don't cross this red line and go to the International Court of Justice. International Court of Justice is very good venue to build on to stop this war. Otherwise, talking conferences, this will not be helpful at all. And also, there is another practical step we can do to move forward. The most surprising issue in the summit, the Arabic and Muslim summit, why Malaysia and Turkey and other countries allow the decision of two great nations to be kidnapped by few countries. And you know what I mean. What I don't want to name these countries. Few countries don't allow to include the statement, cut the relations, end the normalizations, stop investments, go to the International Court of Justice. Why they allow this? This is the question. The statement of the summit, born dead, without teeth, as nothing happened. They are still watching.
Yeah. Yes, I understand your point.
Please,
this question also was going to be a question to Parasiria also, why they are not doing the same also against in the International Court. But do you have an answer, sir, or shall I move to the next?
No, I would like to respond to that. I think it's not fair to just look at Malaysia. We have been very firm on our stand of supporting Palestine. And I think it is also very important that Malaysia is trying its best level to get the support from all the Arab countries, especially. The Arab countries must go together. They must play a bigger role together. You cannot be expecting Malaysia, Indonesia alone. Where are the Arab countries on this? What are they doing about it?
In your review, why? Oh. In your review, we want to benefit from your
question
here. In your review, why until now these Muslim countries don't form a delegation, high-level delegation, to go to Russia, to China, to visit countries? Meanwhile, we saw Blinken move all over the world to mobilize, support Israel. Until now, I didn't see any delegation from the Arab Muslim world formed to visit these countries. They left the USA to play its dirty work in the Middle East. Meanwhile, they can bring China and Russia in to make a balance.
Sir, once you are asking these questions, we need to move to the Turkish also. So Turkey could have an answer also regarding that, because this question could be for all the Arab and Muslims countries, and even the countries that support the freedom of the Palestinians. So I want to ask Mr. Doğan Bekin, doğru mu? Yeah, the member of the National Assembly of Turkey. So alongside countries like Venezuela and Iran, there was a good, strong statements from the government and its parliament. People say sometimes it was a little bit late, but can we have more steps regarding that, especially now with the strongest also statement that was done by Mr. The president of Turkey, Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, that describing Israel as a state of terror.
Assalamu alaikum. Of course, this is a very important issue for all Muslim countries, not only for Turkey, but Turkey is acting as a pioneer role in the region for this issue. And our presidents also had made very good statements about the genocide of Israel towards our Palestinian brothers and sisters. We as Re-Prosperity Party, as you know, our party was the party of the former Prime Minister Ustaz Necmettin Erbakan, and his son is our chairman at the party, and we make all our effort to stand with our Palestinian brothers. And we had a rally at Konya province, because Konya province is very, very important. Before Ustaz Erbakan had a rally in Konya province, and the military take over after a week, and they put him in prison for a year, as you remember. Yeah. And they closed our facility, our party. And afterwards, the Prosperity Party also was closed down due to our efforts for supporting Palestinian issue. And now we are attempting the same thing, and we are trying to support our Palestinian brothers. And today I had a press conference at the parliament for this issue, because Turkey is also important for the future goals of Israel as well. Because as you know, the Israel has a big idea about Eretz Israel, and they state their boundaries from the Nile to Euphrates, to the river in Turkey. For that reason, Turkey also is inside their plan. And now they are using the Union plan for Gaza Strip. And one day there was former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Israel, Shimon Peres. Journalists had asked him a question, and he said that had you reached your goals for Israel, he said that we have three aims for reaching our goals. One is watery land, the second one is holy land, and the third one is the Holy Land. We reached our goal in the Holy Land, but still the watery land and the Holy Land are not completed. When they are completed, of course, the great Israel state will be established. Also, the first Prime Minister of Israel, Ben-Gurion, was asked the same question. He said that the Israel state has not been established now in and as soon as we completely take over the Holy Land, Al-Quds, the Quds, and we establish the third temple, afterward we will establish the kingdom of the Jews, and our aims will be completed.
Mr.
here,
Gombikin, yani
yes,
you describe the dangers of Israel
yes,
even against Turkey, and we understand that.
of course,
But
of course.
and even the people of Turkey here are describing Gaza as Çanakkale, and you know what is Çanakkale means for the
Of course,
Turkish
yes.
people. So, do you think Turkey could move more forward to go toward Gaza and the Çanakkale that's happening there? Because people sometimes are making comparing between Azerbaijan and Palestine.
Of course.
Azerbaijan was under occupation for 35 years, Karabakh, and after that was liberated. So what is the difference? Why Gaza and Palestine is that different?
Gaza and Palestine is very important for us. There is no difference between Karabakh and Gaza Strip, if you ask us. And according to our party, also our first issue is the Gaza Strip issue now, and we are trying our best to make the Turkish community concerned more about this issue. And every day we are making statements and we are making some activities. We also have a framework of new plans to make the attention of the government, also at the parliament, to take more active action towards this situation, because, as you know, they have bases. The United States have bases in Turkey. There is bases in Malatya province. Name it. Not Incirlik only. The other is more important. More important in order to. It was established only for the security of Israel, and our party insists on the government to close down this base and to close down the Incirlik base as well, because these steps are very important, because they don't obey the human rights, they don't obey to anything. And the United States also, they said that they believe in democracy, in human rights, but when Israel is for them important, they forget all of this. I had a conference before this, and I asked to the United States, parliaments from the United States and senators, I asked them that according to the United States authorities, the democracy is for the people and by the people. But now what America is doing in Israel, for Israel, is they are acting for dictatorship, and the dictatorship represent the dictators in Israel, and they support them instead of their democracy. And the United States also supported the democracy. But the Hamas also is a political party and elected by the Palestinians. Also, they are elected party members. They don't accept them. And
yes.
They don't accept their way of democracy. As the Clinton
they want a design democracy, you know, for their
they design their own democracy for themselves. Before Clinton, there was president of United States.
Bush, the father.
No, not Bush. Before Bush, husband of Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Clinton was originally from Ireland, and when he elected president of the United States, what he did, he firstly invited the Sinn Féin leader, Adams, to United States. And many authorities said that why you invite such a terrorist to United States? He said that there are 30 million reasons to invite him to United States. what was the reasons, the 30 million reason. He was also originally from Ireland, and for that reason, he said that there was 30 million reason.
Yes.
And what they are making down for supporting Israel the same way, because the dollars, the company which print the dollar is in the hands of the Zionist families.
Yeah.
For that reason, the United States administration also is bonding to Zionist.
So you are talking about the powerful powerful tools that America and the Zionists have around the world. I would like here to go to محمد جميل. تفضل.
تفضل.
انا جايك استاذ محمد اصلا ناقل عليك عشان احكي لك هاي النقطه. اصلا هو الحديث اللي انت كنت بتتساءله عن موضوع الضغوط.
تفضل ممكن تسأل. تفضل.
English please, Honoris.
English, Mr. Muhammad Jamil, I was going to move to you to ask you this question about why there is a red line for Malaysia, Brasilia, Turkey, most of the Arab and Muslim countries to send or to file a case against the Israelis in the international court, and they are telling you that there are a lot of pressure on them. There are American basements in their lands. They are just describing the situation. What do you think?
I want to take this opportunity because about the presence of the distinguished guest from Turkey, the MB, to ask Mr. Erdogan why until now he didn't go to the International Court of Justice. Why Turkey didn't make efforts to have a meeting with other countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, Brazil, thinking outside the box, because the Palestinians fed from the position of the so-called Arabic Islamic, especially those who have borders with Palestinians. You see Egypt is closing the Rafah border. Egypt is complicit with the crimes committed by the Israelis, and Turkey know that. Egypt can do many things. I don't know why in the summit, in the Arabic Islamic summit, if the summit didn't decide and put a mechanism to implement its one decision, to send convoys. These convoys raise the flags of 52 Islamic and Arabic countries. It's not an invading, it's not a declaration of war against Israel. It's a humanitarian convoy to go through Rafah border and send humanitarian aid to the Palestinians with cooperation with the UN. Is this very difficult step? Do you think Israel will dare to shoot a single bullet? There is something wrong. There is no political will to do that. Not all the Arab Muslim countries don't willing to do that. Some few countries, and namely who have normal relations with Israel. They are 5 countries, Arabic countries, Muslim countries, unfortunately. They control the agenda of the summit. This is our question in the it's not the people who are, it is the blood with the Gazans' blood is the humanity blood. It's not Arabic Islamic, it's a humanity issue. So we have to break this taboo in the Middle East and see the wider international humanity to act. Some Arab, believe me, if you left Gaza to Jordan, to Egypt, to United Arab Emirates, to Saudi Arabia, to Bahrain, to Morocco, Gaza will finish. will finish. They don't care. So we have to move. Indonesia have good position. Malaysia has good position. Turkey have good position. Kuwait, many other Brazil, Colombia, Honduras, many 120 countries in the United Nations can do a lot of work with cooperation with other super powers. Until now, just we hear the position of Turkey, the position of Malaysia. We need all these countries on one umbrella to have one resolution, one statement, one mechanism to open the borders against the will of the Egyptian and against the will of the Israelis and the USA. Can we do that? Can we step forward? Also, the International Court of Justice. This is a matter of state. It's an issue for states. We need states to move. NGOs, civil societies can't do anything. Civil society can just go to the street, and this is very good in Europe, in America. They have did very good job in putting a pressure, but this is not enough. Not enough. Okay.
Dear brother, I am fully agree with your statements, and we fight for the same things in Turkey. In Turkey, the ruling party leader, our president, Mr. Erdogan, had a big rally in Istanbul and invited our party leader also to this rally, but we didn't participate in this rally. Why? Because we said that you are ruling Turkey now and you should not have a rally. You should take necessary steps because actions, there is a proverb in English, actions speak more than words, because we need also the necessary actions to be taken, and your statements are very important for us, especially to take the case to the International Court of Justice and to take food to Gaza by means of all Muslim countries, and the other actions, especially Turkey, can lead to this all actions because its position is very big. And be sure that all your questions are in my mind now, and I will bring them as a question to the parliament issue, and to force also the ruling party parliament members to take the necessary actions in this way.
Okay, for that we go back, Mr. Doğan. For that we go back to Mr. Sayyid Ibrahim, Sayyid Noh.
We will do as our party. We also sit side with the Palestinian brothers, and our party motto is also known, the path of Erbakan we follow, and we will make our best to bring these problems to the parliament, and we hope that within a short time we will have a committee also to take the necessary actions for this for the implementations of this by the president.
And you have your, we have a distinguished friend from Malaysia also. You can cooperate. You are colleagues.
Yes, as parliament members.
Of course. I am sorry. After a while, I will leave for Istanbul. I have a meeting in Istanbul.
Thank you.
I will leave if it is possible.
Okay,
Yes.
buraya
take your
hoş geldiniz
permission.
İstanbul'a, hoş geldiniz.
hoş bulduk. I speak Arabic, no problem. أنا أتكلم باللغة العربية
ما
كمان.
شاء الله ما شاء الله.
ما شاء الله، شكرا، بارك الله
Thank
فيك.
you.
هذول السؤالكم كلهم إن شاء الله سوف يكون صوتكم بالبرلمان أنا، وسوف إن شاء الله أرجو من البرلمان من حزب العدالة والتنمية كمان، إن شاء الله سوف نحصل على نتيجة كويسة بتركيا.
Thank you. Thank you
بإذن
sir.
الله.
Thank you.
ما
Teşekkürler.
تتقون.
Kolay gelsin. Thank you.
الله يس. في أمان الله.
Okay, so we go back to Mr. Sayed. Nuh, you stay with us?
Yeah, I also need to leave in about 5 minutes time.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
You can comment with 1 minute.
Sure.
Yes. Welcome.
What is to comment?
Because we were talking about the parliament which could make these decisions into action to find the mechanism for that, to make them practical and to implement them on the reality.
Sure. I mean, what we can do as parliamentarians is to bring it up to the government. And I think we have also voiced out our intentions that we should bring it to the courts of justice, to the ICC, to ICJ, and any other means that is possible. And as far as we are concerned right now, it is not just enough the voices of parliaments from Malaysia, but also our friends from Indonesia and also from Thailand. So we are working with them. Inshallah, it's not that late. I understand the situation is very grave in Gaza and also in Palestine. And believe me, brother, my prayers are all for them, and we must do whatever it takes to make sure that they have the freedom and there will be, justice for Palestine, and also whatever atrocities that have been done by Israel must be judged and must be brought to court. So I think that's the best that we can do. However, as I said earlier, there are also many ways that we are working with the NGOs here in Malaysia as well. There are also the BDS movement, the boycott, divestment, and sanctions. There's also the humanitarian assistance that we are also helping out with them as well. We are sending it as much as possible, making sure that it can reach Gaza as much as possible.
Thank you for your participation. I will go to Mr. Rong Huan, the Chinese political analyst, and we would like to ask Mr. Huan, you are with us? Hello. Do we have Mr. Huan with us?
I think he has a technical issue.
Okay. If you want, we can go to the recorded speech for Mr. Mahathir Mohamad and then go back to Mr. Huan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May peace be upon you. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to share some thoughts with all the distinguished personalities present. I do not know how much of what I say can make any difference to the situation in Palestine, where we witness every day for the past 1 month the barbarity of Israel conducting mass murder and genocide. But I am bound by a very basic principle in Islam when witnessing a grave injustice in which, if I am not capable of raising my hands and joining the fight, I must speak up and oppose the tyranny. And that is what I am doing. I am now 98 years old, and I have lived through numerous phases as the world evolved. I have witnessed the cruelties and atrocities of colonialism, the arrogance of the colonialists, and the hypocrisy of powerful nations. But the arrogance of Israel is its barbarity and colossal disregard for human values equals and most times surpass the horrors committed during the colonial past. Ladies and gentlemen, it is difficult to find words to describe the atrocities and horrendous cruelties inflicted by the Israelis on the Palestinians. These horrors perpetrated by the Israelis are brought right into our living room as we watch them on news channels and other sources of information on social media platforms. Then we ask ourselves, surely leaders of the Western world, the US and the UK in particular, have access to the same graphic images of children and babies being killed, dying horrific, suffocating death in rubbles of bombed buildings. On the one hand, these leaders of the so-called civilized world demand the third world to observe human rights and even animal rights and show overbearing concerns over homelessness and poverty. And yet all these that they preach to the world are being stripped blatantly of the Palestinians. Worse, they are abetting the Israelis to deny Palestinians of their rights, their homes, while totally impoverishing them. They supply the arms and incendiaries, including phosphorus bombs, to Israel to conduct genocide on the Palestinians and deprive them of all their rights. Surprising as it may seem to most people, it is actually a consistent trait of leaders from these nations who are imperialists. If we today discover that to these leaders, the lives of Palestinians are of no consequence, it was likewise to them with the lives of the Iraqis, the Afghans, Vietnamese, Japanese, Koreans, Africans, Irish, Malays, Indians, Aborigines, and Native Americans. In the past, when they were pursuing their imperialistic dominance, they labeled freedom fighters with pejoratives, which I am sure we are all quite familiar with: barbarians, rebels, savages, uncivilized, infidels, recalcitrant, and of course, terrorists. As in the past, all these labeling a mere facade to distract the rest of the world from what was actually happening, the expansion of imperialism. For us, we need to be steadfast in our support for the Palestinians and call a spade a spade. Israel is an occupying force committing genocide on Palestinians who are the occupied people. Israel is being abetted to commit the atrocities by the Western powers, whose hands are as bloodied as that of the Israelis with the blood of Palestinian children and babies. And let us be clear, in any language or definition, the occupier is the evil force, and those occupied are victims. Victims of occupations have every right to rise against their occupier.
Yes. So victims of the occupation has every right to raise against the occupier. Hello, can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay, I'm seeing myself twice. I don't know what's happening. Okay, so Mr. Juan is with us now.
He has technical issues still. He just one.
Okay, Mr. Mohammed Jamil معنا.
Yes.
So in the highlight of the speech for Mr. Mahathir, what would you say?
I'm saying in this very dangerous moment and in light of these atrocities, all humanity must be mobilized to do something. Until now, we are watching these butchers doing what are they doing in Gaza. We didn't see any serious move. This is measures to stop this slaughter. Meanwhile, there is a lot of measures can be taken to stop this. But as I mentioned, there is no political willing. Everyone scared from America, calculate the position of America before taking any simple steps. We didn't, we never ever ask countries to mobilize armies and declare war against Israel. We just ask for simple steps. Mobilize convoys of humanitarian aid to go to Rafah border under the umbrella of United Nations, without whether Israel agree or not agree, they should enter, and they have to have measures to protect this convoys, take the injuries from inside Gaza to outside, because every moment pass is very serious for these people. They have very serious injuries. There is no not medicine. There is no way to have any surgery to save the lives of these people. There is no any means for life. So why this the wider international community forget the Arab countries and what are they doing? The wider international community must take actions, and this must be led by the countries I mentioned, because the wider international community can't be king more than the king. Okay. They have to move seriously together in collective decision to face this collective massacre. Otherwise, every day and with no bus of every moment, bus without any serious measure against these butchers, we lose a lot of innocent lives. This is what we ask as NGOs. We can issue reports, statements, send letters, make things cannot be effective, like if countries take decisive measures against this country and the Western alliance led by America.
Yes. Okay, so let's see the other part of the Mr. Mahathir Mohamad speech, and we end with that. يعني the whole situation is calling for a practical move, not only speeches and analyzing the situation. We understand that the situation is explaining itself by itself. Yes, Mahathir Mohamad's speech, the rest of it, please.
And Palestine had been occupied for more than 7 decades. And we should not let ourselves be taken for a ride by the modern day imperialists who want to confine Israel's genocidal reaction to Hamas retaliation on October the 7th. The world must be reminded that the genocide had never ceased since the illegal creation of Israel, and that it is funded and armed and fully blessed by leaders of these nations. To sum up, the Palestinians are dealing with present-day imperialists and colonialists who stick together in the pursuit of their common interests, geopolitical dominance, which in turn ensure control over crucial regional resources. Ladies and gentlemen, we have established that the Palestinians are victims of new imperialism, which means that neither Israel nor the US, neither the UK nor their Western allies are interested in seeing peace or justice being achieved. With that in mind, I cannot help but feel utterly disappointed with the recent joint Arab-Islamic Extraordinary Summit, which failed to propose any concrete or strategic measures to pressure Israel and its Western allies to stop the massacre of Palestinian civilians. Let's not fool ourselves. All the strongly worded communique, statements, demands, and condemnations directed towards Israel and its Western allies, in particular the United States, will fall on deaf ears. As it is, the reaction from the war criminal Netanyahu is very telling, condescending and derogatory when he arrogantly said, "I say to the Arab leaders, if you want to preserve your interests, you must do one thing, remain silent." The reality is that despite efforts by Israel over 7 decades to strip Palestinians of their dignity, the Palestinians still hold their heads high. In the past month, the Palestinians, including school-going youth, again proved their courage and defiance in the face of Israel's barbarity and atrocities. In the face of such adversity, we witness civilian Palestinians, especially doctors and nurses, refusing to leave their hospitals for safer places, insisting on staying and treating the wounded at the risk of their own lives. Many died, but they will live on as martyrs and heroes. Instead, it is Muslim and Arab leaders who are being stripped of their dignity as Israel, the US, and their Western allies continue to humor them by never taking them seriously. Despite sitting on areas of abundant wealth that could be used as leverage to demand Western nations apply sanctions against Israel for its atrocities on the Palestinians, Arab and Muslim leaders merely appeal for Israel to stop the genocide. They don't even demand that the UN send peacekeepers. I am aware that some of these leaders are nauseated and want the Arab and Islamic Summit to take more drastic and concrete measures against Israel. However, the others preferred to play it safe so that consensus could not be reached, other than the meaningless diplomatic appeal. With that, the Palestinians are left at the mercy of Israel, the US, and its Western allies, and they are as culpable as Israel over the genocide. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, and thank you.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So for now, we are done with all these participations from everyone. We tried to reach Mr. Juan, but it seems we are not available. He is not available. We are not able to reach him. Thanks for everyone for participating in this discussion. Hoping that these further discussions could be applied on the reality and to do something practical and implemented after being discussed here and in the parliaments and every affecting place. Thanks for everyone, and inshallah see you in other discussions. Thank you.